President Obama is set to address the Democratic convention tonight. His remarks will come nearly 12 years after his first convention speech back in 2004, remarks that catapulted him onto the national stage. I'm joined now by Margaret Brennan at the White House for more on President Obama's speech here at the convention. Margaret, you have been briefed on some of the themes the president is going to touch on. What have you learned?
Well, when the president takes the stage in Philadelphia tonight, he'll speak for about 30 minutes, and he's going to use that time. Words he's really peined over to the wee morning hours, we're told by White House officials, to make the case that Hillary Clinton has strong national security credentials. He's going to describe her as a dedicated public servant. And he's really got a unique perspective to do that, because remember, he'll lay out the arc here of how he and Hillary Clinton were once bitter rivals, locked in a nasty 2008 bid for the Democratic nomination for the presidency. Hillary ultimately lost out to an unknown senator named Barack Obama, but put that aside to go and to work for him. So he's going to try to describe all the work she did for the country as a diplomat and argue that she has the grit and the strength to be the next commander-in-chief. But it's going to be interesting to also focus in on the language that the president uses. He's really framing this as an extraordinary election and not one that is about the typical policy differences between Democrats and Republicans. He's arguing that this is a fight for the very moral fabric, the character of America. And that's a theme that you heard from Michelle Obama, the First Lady, earlier this week. In fact, White House officials say the president watched the First Lady and was so inspired by her remarks that he went back, stayed up till 3 a.m. rewriting his speech because he wants to pick up on many of those same themes tonight.
Well, Margaret, as you know, Donald Trump is getting attention again today for the controversial remarks calling on Russia to hack Hillary Clinton's email, said that Vladimir Putin referred to the president as the N-word. Is there any expectation that President Obama is going to respond in a direct fashion to that?
Not to those specific claims, but what we do know is that the president will mention Donald Trump. He will use his name, something he's often been reluctant to do. He'll use Donald Trump's name roughly half a dozen times or so. But the other language that the White House is really emphasizing is important here describes the we, the collaborative effort that Barack Obama is going to argue Hillary Clinton will be for. It's about integration. It's about inclusion. They're going to try to contrast that with Donald Trump's language when he stood up there last week at the RNC saying, I am the man who can make the change. You need me, the individual. So the language that they describe and they use tonight in this speech is very much aimed at countering some of the darker, some of the more individually motivated rhetoric that you've heard from Donald Trump in describing how he will approach the presidency. So the language will be important, but we're not going to get into some of the name calling. In fact, they're going to really try to avoid that.
All right, Margaret Brennan at the White House for us. Margaret, thank you so much.